Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you doing? It's good to see everybody again. See a lot of familiar faces in the chat room this morning. Oh, we have a question already. Swati, you have a question already. I just begun. But yeah, go ahead with your question. I am here to answer questions. Today we will be finishing our discussion about paragraphs. Before we talked about topic sentences and supporting sentences. And today, of course, we'll be talking about concluding sentences, and then we'll be putting it all together in a paragraph. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Singh. Good morning, Jose. Good morning, Rosa. Yeah, Sawadi, go ahead with your question. Now is a good time to ask because we have not begun the lesson yet. So I am available to answer questions. This morning, I'm not drinking coffee, I'm drinking tea. This is tea in here. Oh, John, I'm glad to hear that these lessons are helping with your writing. If you want to talk more about writing, we can continue this discussion. There's, of course, lots to talk about when we talk about writing. In English, of course, I would like to talk about more things like vocabulary and reading and speaking and listening. But if you find writing is helpful, let me know, and we can continue this series on writing. I know how important it is because a lot of you are students and you're studying. I'm going to turn this a little bit. There's something on my screen there. Oh, my shirt looks crazy. Okay. So Sawadi, you asked the question. It was a stingy offer. What does it mean? Is it a cheap offer? Let me put that up. Let me go straight to the class notes and let's go ahead and put that below the vocabulary as an example. And I'll put this on the screen behind me. Oh, there I am. And there are the notes. So control, try this one more time. There we go. Okay. It was a stingy offer. What does that mean, it was a stingy offer? That's a good question, Sawadi. It was a stingy offer. And I'm going to change this to simply A. It was a stingy offer. Is it a cheap offer? I would say a stingy offer would be not necessarily a cheap one, but a stingy offer would be an offer where the person who is doing the offering is looking to benefit more. So an offer where the person who is doing the offering is looking to benefit more. Maybe not a good offer. So let's say something like I make you the offer, and I'll make it very, very simple, a simple offer. I will do the dishes if you cook dinner. And then you happen to cook dinner, and it happens to only use a pan, 2 plates, couple forks, couple knives. So where you do most of the work, let's say you make a soup or a stew, you do most of the work. Me cleaning the dishes does not take up a lot of my time, and it's not a lot of work. I have made a stingy offer, one that benefits me more than it benefits you. Basically, not a good offer. Do not take a stingy offer. Someone is looking to benefit. It's, an offer should be fair to both sides. Hopefully that helps, Sawadi. Another question before we begin. Wow, a lot of questions. Okay, we're beginning with questions. Some Q&A at the beginning of this session. Is it appropriate to use inversion? Mr. Singh is asking, is it appropriate to use inversion in the conclusion? I think you can use inversion wherever you want in writing. So inversion is where there's a couple examples of inversion where maybe you start with a negative first. Never has there been a better time than now to fix environmental problems. So inversion is putting the negative at the beginning, and then you'll see there's a modal verb, not a modal, an auxiliary verb there. So I would say any place in your paragraph, if you find an opportunity to use inversion, you can use it. Inversion is not so uncommon. It's very formal, however. Inversion is very, very formal. So it might sound a little strange to some readers because it is so formal. In an academic paper, I think formal language is good. So if you find an opportunity to use inversion, go ahead and use it. And if you use it in the conclusion, I would think that would be okay. It has kind of this emphasis of being very strong. It's strong language. It's formal language and it's strong language. For me, as a writer, I would probably use inversion as the topic sentence of my concluding paragraph. I would use it as the first sentence of my last paragraph, and then follow it with some of the stronger points I made in my essay or my paragraph before. So, short answer, yes. Yes, short answer is yes, you can use inversion. A lot of you may know inversion because you've written questions before, like, has he seen that movie? We use inversion in questions where you might put, for example, an auxiliary before the subject. Anytime you move a verb, an auxiliary, a modal before the subject, that's inversion, and you've probably all used it before. It's used in questions, and it's used in formal English. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so for the stingy one, that's a good synonym. Boy, I'm gonna have problems with your name, Neal. Shariat. Boy, I probably destroyed the pronunciation of your name. Again, I'm very good at that. I'm very good at mispronouncing names. Yeah, stingy. A good synonym for stingy is not generous. Yes, it means, of course, not generous. Not a generous offer, not a good offer. Do not take that offer. Is intend important? Zaki, again, if I mispronounce your names, please correct me. Is intend important? Do you mean is intention important? So let me put that question down. Help me with this question. For me, this question means, is intention important? Am I correct in this? Is this what you meant? Is intention important? And are you referring to when we were talking about stingy earlier, or were you talking about when you're writing? Is intention important? Please clarify that for me, and I'll be happy to answer. Okay, as I wait for that, let's go ahead and get started on the lesson. You may have also noticed a difference. I am wearing glasses this morning instead of my contacts. Usually I wear contacts, but I'm all out of contacts, so hopefully I'll get some soon. But for now, it's me. It's still me, Neal. I may look a little different because I'm wearing my glasses this morning. This is my name, Neal Holgarth. Very strange name. My ancestors were Irish and English, and so that's kind of a very United Kingdom name, a very UK name. you can look for my name on Facebook, friend me. I should share these notes with you even before I. Oh, thank you, John. I'm glad you like the glasses. They're needed. These glasses are very, very important right now. Otherwise, I'd be running into walls. Okay, I shared a link in the chat room for the class notes. One more time, if you have any questions about these classes, please email Zach. He'd be happy to answer your questions. If you want to know more about these classes we're teaching, you can go to the Smrt Live page here, and I've included that link. If you'd like to know more about the school where I'm at, you can always visit this link. And then finally, if you want to be my Facebook friend, you can find me on Facebook under this name. And you'll see my picture. I have a couple Facebooks. One is my work and one is personal. You can go ahead and friend me on either. I check both. So inversion, is it before topic sentence? So an inversion is just a name, and I'm answering Diana's question now. Inversion is just the name whenever you put a verb, an auxiliary, or a modal before the subject. And it can go anywhere in a paragraph. It can go anywhere in an essay. Any sentence you can turn into inversion. But why would you? Why would you? And maybe this is about the question about intention. Is intention important? And let me answer this question with inversion. Inversion is for emphasis. It's making a very strong point. It's making a strong point. So inversion is for emphasis. It is formal language used to make a strong, and I'll use the word statement, a strong statement. It's meant to capture the reader's intention, unless it's spoken, and then not intention, attention. And it's also used to capture the listener's attention. So inversion is a way to emphasize. So don't use it for every sentence. Use it when you intend to emphasize something. Make that strong point. I was going to wait to talk about this, but let's talk about it now. I'm going to put it in the vocabulary box here. There are a couple special kind of sentences. There's a hook sentence, and a hook sentence is the first sentence of the first paragraph of an essay. And by essay, I mean a multi-paragraph paper. Maybe at least, it can be 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs. But the hook sentence is the first sentence of the first paragraph of an essay used to capture the reader's attention. And because this hook sentence, the purpose of it is to capture the reader's attention, it might be a good place to use inversion. Inversion is a strong statement, so probably the best way to capture the reader's attention is with a strong statement. So I'll include inversion, but it can also be things like a question. You can ask a question of your reader that might grab their attention. It can be an interesting fact. Now, I know before we've talked about topic sentences, and we talked about topic sentences not being facts because those are hard to develop. However, your hook sentence can be an interesting fact. That first sentence of your first paragraph of your essay should do something, should be a type of sentence that can grab your reader's attention. So Rosa, hook sentence is different than a thesis sentence. And before I talk about thesis, let me put one other thing. The supporting sentences in the first paragraph of an essay is called background information. And background information is the necessary information to get your reader familiar with your topic. So one thing you have to consider when you write is, I'm going to put in another word, is audience. And I'm going to use who your intended reader is. Yeah, it's not very good grammar there, but let's say that. An audience for your paper is who your intended reader is. Who do you think should read your essay? Who do you think would benefit from reading your essay? Who do you think could learn from reading your essay? I know a lot of times we say it's our teacher, because of course our teacher is going to read our essays. But sometimes it can also be our peers, meaning the people who are in the same field of study in school, people who are in the same field of work, in your business, wherever you work. So audience, who is your best reader? So you have to know who your audience is to give them the background information. So for example, let's say my topic was, and I'll just start writing the examples here. So for example, let's say my reader, let's say I need a topic. How about phone technology is so let's say I have a topic sentence. Phone technology is among the most innovative in the world. So, good. Okay, I got a couple other, welcome Sol, by the way. So I got a couple other statements. Yes, Steve Lynn, a hook sentence can be an anecdote or like a story, and I'll include that when I go back up there. So this topic sentence, phone technology is among the most innovative in the world. If I were writing to children, let's say, of course I would maybe talk about smartphones allow users to not just make calls, but to use apps and browse the internet. Sometimes at the same time. Looks like it makes, okay. So if this was background information, if this was a supporting sentence, obviously my audience is not someone who is familiar with smartphones. I'm defining smartphones for them. So I'm looking at a very young audience, children, basically, people who don't use a smartphone, maybe a very old audience, people who are not familiar with a smartphone is probably not my intended audience. Probably most people have used a smartphone, including myself and my peers. So let's go back. Let's get rid of that sentence. I probably do not need to define what smartphones are. So phone technology is among the most innovative in the world. A new model of phone is always reason for great excitement because it signifies an improvement in capability. So this sentence is probably a better background information sentence or supporting sentence because now I'm talking to a more sophisticated audience, one who does not need to know what a smartphone is, and one who probably is a consumer of smartphones. So always keep your audience in mind. Who is your audience? That's always important in writing. And so don't always think of your teacher as your audience. Oftentimes, your teacher is just going to grade your paper, but not your intended audience. Okay, so let me go back up. And Steve, you're correct. A hook sentence may also be an anecdote, meaning a story. So it could be a short story, and you could dedicate more than one sentence to it. Yes, Diana, we can use inversion in speaking. Wow, a lot of questions this morning. We can use inversion in speaking. Again, it's formal and it's for emphasis. Like, let's say I was angry at my students. I might say something like, never in my teaching career have I seen worse test scores. So I use it as strong language, formal language, ways to get my point across. Often we don't hear it in speaking. Casually, we don't use inversion when we speak. You might hear it in a speech, when somebody's giving a presentation or a speech. For example, let's see, now I have to think of an example. Not one person survived in the original Jamestown colony in America. Again, something used to make a strong point, to make emphasis, and it's more of a presentation, a debate type of language. So yes, we can use inversion in speaking, but it's not common. Oh, okay. Yeah, a quotation from a famous person can also be used as a hook. So yes, Rosa, we can use quotations as a hook sentence. Good. Oh, okay. So we have I'm gonna just turn up the volume just a tad, and I'll scooch up a little bit to get closer to the mic. Let me know if that's better. Yeah, let me know if you can't hear me, and I'll make sure to try to address that. Maybe I can, I don't want it in the shot. Okay. Is that better? Is that better for volume? Maybe. And just let me know if the sound gets a little better there. Okay. So a lot of people are having the volume problem. So how's that? Is that better? Is that better? Let me know. Let me know if that's better. I can always speak directly into the mic, but I might go off shot a little bit. Okay. Okay, good, Rosa. I'm glad that's better. And I'll increase my volume. All right, boy, so many questions at the beginning. Let's begin the lesson, actually. Let's talk about concluding paragraphs. So, or not paragraphs, concluding sentences. Concluding paragraphs will be a topic for another day. So let's talk about concluding sentences. So what is the function of a concluding sentence? The concluding sentence is, of course, the final sentence of your paragraph, which seems obvious and easy, as it is impossible to write a paragraph without a final sentence. That seems obvious, right? However, the concluding sentence should leave the reader with a sense of closure, often with a statement that lets the reader know the topic has been fully developed. And that's it. That's it for concluding sentences. So let's practice. Maybe the best way to look at this is to practice. Let's always practice. Okay. I want you to finish these paragraphs. Let's look at the first one, and I'll read it aloud for you, and you can read along. Hopefully you can see it. And then I'll pop out and let you write your concluding sentences. The cottage my family rented on Grand Lake was a peaceful summer getaway. It was secluded and quiet. The only noises were the rustling leaves, the lapping of tiny waves against a rocky beach, and the singing of unseen birds in the woods. We would pass whole afternoons sitting on the shore, quietly reading our paperbacks as the sun warmed our faces and the breeze filled our nostrils with the sweet-smelling summer air. Or we would sit sipping a cold drink, looking out on the sparkling water, and waving to the occasional canoer passing by. After dinner, when the sky grew dark and air became chilly, we used to wrap ourselves in old blankets and sit under the stars, roasting marshmallows over a crackling fire and listening to the faraway call of the loon out on the water. And a loon is a type of bird. Okay, so what would be a good concluding sentence? How could this writer wrap up this whole paragraph? Obviously, they're talking about their summers at the lake, and they describe it. There's a lot of description in here. I don't think the concluding sentence needs more description. I think they included a lot of description. But what I'm asking you is, what do you think would be a good way to end this paragraph? I'm going to pop out, and I'm going to look at your answers, and I'll be back in a couple minutes, and we'll discuss your concluding sentences. Okay, good luck. Be right back. Okay, I see some of you have already written your answers, and I want to put those in. First, I'll make a copy so I can write in it. Okay, there it is. All right, and there were some good sentences here. Simply, short and simple, we had a great time. Yeah, it sounds like a great time. That's short and sweet, but that works. How about, that was one of my best vacations, and it will be one of my unforgettable memories. Again, very, very good. That's a good way to end it. Kind of a summary of everything, like a one-sentence summary of everything that came before. Looking back, the cottage was one of the best experiences I had. Yeah. Experience, memory, these are all good ways to finish this paragraph. I can see you understand concluding sentences very well already. Overall, we really enjoyed the experience, and I would recommend it to everyone. Yeah, again, excellent. Ending with a recommendation, that's good too. All of these are good examples of a concluding sentence. You do not need any more description. You basically have to sum it up for your reader. Yeah, what is the point of writing all of these sentences? Well, for this one, it's to talk about how great that time was, how great that memory, that experience, that vacation, that time in the cottage on the lake. You just need to sum up how great it was, how fantastic it was. So these are very, very, very good examples of concluding sentences. Okay, we have a question here from Rosa. How can we join the concluding sentence in the first sentence to the topic sentence in the next paragraph? So Rosa, you're talking about transition sentences, and that's something we have not talked about before. Oh, I was going to talk about the thesis as well, wasn't I? Forgot about something I was going to talk about. Okay, the last sentence of your first paragraph is called the thesis. Now, the thesis can appear in other paragraphs. It can appear somewhere else in the first paragraph. These are called delayed theses. You can even begin an essay with a thesis. My recommendation is to always make it the last sentence of your first paragraph, only because that's where your teachers will look for your thesis sentence. So the last sentence of your first paragraph, it will be your main idea for the whole essay. Think about it as a one-sentence summary of your entire essay. And this is for essays, not necessarily for paragraphs, but this is for essays in an essay. It will be the main idea for your whole essay. If somebody's reading your essay and forgets what it's about or what your point is, they can always go back and read that thesis, and that should be able to serve as a guide to what the whole essay will be about. It's a very important sentence. In an essay, it's the most important sentence. It's the sentence you should put the most thought into, and it kind of says everything. It kind of says everything. Think of it almost as an abstract, which is kind of like a summary. It's an abstract of your entire essay. It's hard. Thesis sentence is hard. It's a real art. If we continue to talk about writing, maybe a good topic for next time would be thesis sentences, because they are so important. So important. I can't emphasize that enough. So one thing I was going to talk about is transition sentences. Transition sentences are sentences that appear between paragraphs. Usually the last sentence of a paragraph before another paragraph, but they can also be the first sentence of the next paragraph. They move from one idea to the next idea. And transition sentences are easy if you know some transitional phrases like in addition, moreover, and of course these are sentence transitions as well, but they also serve as paragraph transitions. You can contrast, on the other hand. You can continue with an idea and elaborate, talk about it more. In other words, however, so think of transitional words and phrases, put them in your transition sentence, and it's a way to move from one idea to another. Maybe an example would help here. Example of a transition sentence. Car safety is not the only important aspect when Okay, so let's imagine this is the last sentence of one paragraph, and this is the first sentence of another. Car safety is not the only important aspect when considering what kind of car to buy. Performance is also extremely important for car consumers. And I have a couple transitional words and phrases here. If I say is not the only, obviously I am letting the reader know I'm going to make another point. Another point will be made. And then, of course, I'm just using this simple word also to show that I talked about something before and I'm adding to it. So these very, very simple phrases and words are a great way to show that you're transitioning between ideas. So hopefully, Rosa, that addresses your question about transitions. Diana, you ask, is thesis the same as conclusion? Your thesis sentence, you should find a way to restate it in your conclusion paragraph. Oftentimes we look for that restatement of the thesis as the first sentence of your concluding paragraph. It won't be exactly the same. You have to find a way to restate it, especially after you've hopefully proven your point, or you've given the reader a lot of examples, or you've described something thoroughly. Now you're ready to restate that thesis, but now your reader has a lot of knowledge. So at that point, they should be ready to agree with your thesis or to understand your thesis better. So restate it in a way that shows that you and the reader are now have the same information. I know a lot of students use words like "as you can see" or "as you have read" or something like that to acknowledge that the reader has read what they've written. Those are bad. Those are actually not bad ways to begin a restatement of the thesis. And again, this is a whole other topic, and it's one we'll address later. Next week, maybe we'll talk about constructing larger essays. So let's practice one more. Even though your concluding sentences were great, let's practice one more. Let's look at one more. Okay. We'll just do number 2, and then we'll move on. And of course, I'll read it out loud. Taking too many university courses at once can have potentially serious consequences. Students can become overwhelmed with the heavy workload, and their GPA can suffer as a result. A drop in a student's GPA could result in the loss of a scholarship, or, if the marks fall low enough, could cause a student to fail a semester. Some students can get so stressed by the increased amount of work that they burn out, are forced to leave school for health reasons, and are unable to finish their degree. Other students can be tempted to use illegal prescription drugs to help them focus and keep them awake into the night, which can lead to physical and mental addiction. The pressure of an overly busy schedule can even tempt a student to commit academic fraud just to keep up, which can result in the student's expulsion from the university. Okay, very serious topic here. What do you think would be a good way to conclude this paragraph about some of the difficulties that students face. Okay, I'm going to pop out again for just a couple minutes, and then I'll be back and we'll look at your concluding sentences. Okay, good luck. Be right back. Okay. Guys, I really, really like these sentences. You're very, very sharp this morning. These are excellent, excellent concluding sentences. Let's take a look at them. Academia, and here the comma is not necessary. Why? Because here we have the subject and the verb. Do not separate the subject and verb with a comma. So academia is not an easy task and can take a toll on a student's mental and physical states. Yeah, that's a good summary of what the paragraph said before. So again, concluding sentences can be a short summary of the information in the paragraph before. Therefore, nice transition word. I like this transition word. Here it would be a transition between sentences, not a transition between paragraphs, excuse me, but a transition between sentences. Therefore, it is better for the students to choose one course to avoid all of these problems. Good, a solution sentence, yes. A concluding sentence can present solutions, especially if we talk about a problem. Choosing courses properly will help you perform much better. Good. Yeah, some advice. Yes, concluding sentences can also be advice. Again, I'm very, very impressed with these sentences. Good job. Good job. The university should think of the students before displaying many courses. Maybe it's not the student's fault. That's a good way to look at it. That's a different way to look at it. Don't blame the students. Maybe it's the university's fault. You know, and a lot of you are students, so yeah, maybe you should take the student's side. I like this sentence as well. Many students suffer from the, overage of courses that their universities oblige them to take at once. Again, maybe not the student's fault. Maybe it's the university's fault. Maybe they're asking too much of the student. And then finally, students should very thoroughly choose their courses. Yes, kind of some cautionary advice there. Of course, students should. They should think about it. Choosing courses are as important as actually taking the course. So always plan your semesters and quarters ahead of time so you don't face the same problems that these students do. Okay. Rosa, you have a question. Do we put a comma after therefore? Actually, we can. These kind of words, any words that appear before the subject and are not adjectives that describe that subject, we can break with a comma. These are called introductions or introductory elements. And yes, we can put commas after them. Are they necessary? No. But it's a style choice. It is a style choice. Usually I do. Usually I put commas after my introductory elements, before my subject. I don't know. I like commas, so I use it. And it's up to you. Kind of an aesthetic, meaning what do you think looks best? Just look at your paper, look at your sentences, look at the words. Does it look better with a comma or without? Do you think it's easier to read with a comma or without? For me, in my opinion, I think it's easier to read with the comma. So I always include the comma. Okay. Steve, is this a concluding sentence? Grabbing what you can eat is going to be a wise choice. Are you suggesting to these students that they should have proper diet nutrition to get away from all these stresses? I mean, sure, that is an idea, but if that would be a concluding sentence, it'd be kind of tricky because this doesn't really talk about food or diet at all. It would be maybe a topic for another paragraph. And yes, Tranwiz, commas are pretty challenging. I think I've talked about commas before. I can talk about them again. We can talk more about punctuation in the future. I love punctuation. I'd be happy to talk about punctuation again. Okay, how about we have a little bit of time left. How about some practice? What if I were to give you a topic to write about, what we call a prompt, So I'm going to go down. Okay, so we've talked about topic sentences before, which is one sentence. We've talked about supporting sentences before, which is between 3 and 5 sentences. And then today we talked about concluding sentences, which is just one sentence, and we practice those today. So let's go down. My prompt for you is, and I've said it in a lot of different ways, what field of study are you interested in pursuing? What field of study would you recommend to a student? Or we can even say, what field of study is best in terms of finding a good job after graduating? Kind of 3 different ways to kind of say the same thing. So think about these. Think about these. Field of study, of course, means subject or major when you're studying in a college or university. So I want to know your answers. What field of study are you interested in pursuing? What field of study would you recommend to a student? Or we could say, what field of study is the best in terms of finding a good job after graduating? So think about that. Think about that. Maybe a good place to start is brainstorming. And we can start our brainstorming with subjects, with majors. And I'll start us off. There's a subject you can study in university, audio engineering. Maybe in the chat, can you help me brainstorm and put maybe more majors or subjects that can be studied in university? And again, I'll pop out, well, maybe one last time so you can start brainstorming some ideas of what field of study is best. Okay, I'll include them in the brainstorm notes here, and I'll be right back. Okay, be back soon. Okay, excellent. You came up with a lot of excellent fields of study here. So now we need to pick one to write about. How about, which one do you like? And I asked this question, what field of study is the best in terms of finding a good job after graduating? So let's think about that. I think maybe IT is good if you want a good job after graduating. Mass media communication would also be good. All of these would be good. Let's go with information technology. I'm going to go with this field of study. And to write my topic sentence, I can put information technology is a good field of study for students who want to get okay, so notice my topic sentence here kind of directly answers the prompt. Pardon me. I'm just a tad under the weather today. That's why I'm drinking tea. So there's my topic sentence, and it directly addresses the prompt. It's almost a direct answer to the prompt. If we answer with this topic sentence, however, our supporting sentences should be about this: a good job after graduating. So what kind of jobs can you get if you get a degree in information technology? Maybe you can help me with this, because I am not sure myself. What kind of jobs would that allow you to get? And let's be more specific than just IT jobs, information technology jobs. So I guess I'm asking you, and I'll put this in the chat as well, what kind of job does an IT degree allow you to get? So that's what I'm, okay. Rosa, you've given us a supporting sentence, which is good. Let's put that in there. Oh, bigger. There we go. Due to the technology revolution in the world, IT, I'm gonna put this in the present perfect. IT has become an important field to study at the university. And I'm gonna use my noun of noun. So field noun of noun. Field of study at the university. You know, Rosa, I think this might actually be a good concluding sentence. So if we can put some supporting in here, I think we have our topic sentence. And the reason why I say this is a good concluding sentence is you have this due to. So you have kind of that transitional word there already, and it sounds like this is a good summary of what's going to come before, and this would also make for a good transition sentence, because it would allow us in the next paragraph to talk about the technology revolution. So I'm going to say this is going to be the concluding sentence. So, okay, good. Now I'm getting some jobs. Good. A major in information technology can lead to a career as an IT consultant. So you can get a consultant job, which many businesses are looking for. Web designer, certainly. Or, I'll say and, because we're not limited to just these jobs. Project manager. Okay, good. So now I've talked about some of the jobs. So in this topic sentence, I talked about the jobs. Then I covered the jobs here in a supporting sentence. Nope. And now I'm getting another one. Good. Tranwiz. I'm going to put this in here as well. The IT field has a vast array of specializations to study, such as security, maintenance, customer support, and development. So now I'm talking about more jobs. And because in the sentence before I already talked about jobs, I'm going to put a transition. Just a simple transition. In addition, meaning in addition to the sentence before, here's some more information about the same thing. In addition, the IT field has a vast array of specializations to study, such as security, maintenance, customer support, and development. Tranwiz, you're not late. These are good sentences. We're almost out of time. Maybe one more sentence. Maybe we can get to our 5-sentence paragraph. Can anybody think of one more sentence, and then we'll have our full paragraph. We've done a great job so far. See how easy it is to write? We brainstormed together, we thought together, everybody contributed sentences. Look how easy it is to write. You know, when you're at home with your family, your friends, your roommates, when you're in the library or in the study hall, again, with your fellow students, your peers, it's okay to talk about this and brainstorm ideas. You don't want to steal anybody's ideas, but of course you can always use other people, teachers, students, friends and family as resources to help you create. All the words should be your own, but I think writing is very much a collaborative effort. Oftentimes we do it alone. We think we have to do it alone. Sometimes we're forced to do it alone, but it is very much a collaborative effort. So it's okay. It's okay to get ideas from other people. Other people are great sources of ideas. So never, never limit yourself. Okay, so maybe I will. IT is not limited to just information technology. It is a stepping stone to many jobs. And okay, thank you, Tranwiz. Okay, Tranwiz, I'm going to put yours here before we talk about jobs because you're talking about the training period, which would come before jobs. So I'm just going to put it chronologically where it makes sense. Getting into IT is not difficult and does not require many years of studying. Good use of the semicolon. The private sector is able to get you a certification in a matter of months. Okay, a 6-sentence paragraph. I'm going to share these class notes with you one more time in case you didn't get them before. And you can look at that paragraph we generated in a very short amount of time. We answered the prompt. We gave lots and lots of career choices in IT. I think we answered the prompt well. And we had some good transitions like due to, and I added that in addition. So I think this is a great paragraph. And it looks clean as far as grammar, spelling, punctuation goes. It might be close to a final draft. I think our first draft here is very, very close to a final draft. So we did good. We did good today. IT, Diana, is information technology. Information technology. It basically allows you to get a job related to technology in a business that's maybe more diversified. Like, for example, a hospital might need somebody in the IT position, somebody that's good at handling the technology, the software and the hardware that's necessary to make the hospital run efficiently. If that makes any sense. Yeah, like servers, maybe network, things like that. So anyway, good job. We did a good job today. I'm patting myself on the back. You should pat yourself on the back as well. There's the big red screen behind me. I'm glad you could join me this morning. I think these lessons, these last 3 lessons and paragraphs have been a success. You've written some excellent sentences. Together, we wrote an excellent paragraph. So I don't know. I always like to talk about writing. I'd like to do it some more. Of course, there are many other areas of English to discuss, but I'll probably always return to writing because I enjoy it so much. And I hope it's helping. I know for some of you it is helping. I believe, John, you said directly it is helping. And let me know. Let me know what you would like to talk about. Let me know what helps. Let me know what you want to know more about, and we can address that in the future. Okay, so have a great rest of your days, great rest of your evening. Have a great tomorrow, and I will see you on Monday. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.